The sheer audacity of what Kathy Hochul just said, y'all have to check this out.
Hey, and this is Outnumbered. I'm Kayleigh McEnany, here with my co-host, Emily Campagno. Also joining us, Fox News correspondent Molly Line, Fox News contributor Leslie Marshall, and professor of medicine at NYU Langone Medical Center and Fox News contributor Dr. Mark Siegel. Well, thousands of New Yorkers descending on the Bronx for former President Donald Trump's historic campaign event. First time a Republican presidential candidate had been there in 40 years. In lines, well, they were spanning blocks long. Crowds chanted for 4 more years, USA, and we want Trump in the deep blue city. Trump promised his supporters that he would save Democrat-led New York City.
I'm here tonight to declare that we are going to turn New York City around, and we are going to turn it around very, very quickly. We're going to bring safety back to our streets. We're going to bring success back to our schools. We're going to bring prosperity back to every neighborhood and every borough of the greatest city in our land. Our subways are squalid and unsafe. The ceiling tiles are falling down, and they look worse than a third world country. The medians of our highways are crumbling, and we have mobs of migrants fighting our police officers and giving America the middle finger. But we are not going to let this continue. We are not going to abandon our hope and our pride. This city has given us so much, and now it is time that we are going to give it back. Together, we are going to make New York City great again.
You know, this movement is something special if Donald Trump is campaigning in the Bronx, of all places. Historically, that's one of the most liberal places in the entire country, yet he's going there campaigning because he has a legitimate chance of winning New York. And I mean, come on, Trump is a New Yorker at heart. You can see that. I can't even think of the last Republican president to win New York. It must go back at least 30, 40 years.
I like Trump because he keep it real. He don't got no filter. He's for the people.
He speaks money, and this is what the country needs. We need money, not inflation. We need money.
Everything was under control. We had low inflation. We had gas under $1.80.
How has Joe Biden addressed those issues?
He hasn't.
He hasn't addressed them. He wants to make them worse.
I love it.
What a contrast.
This.
But New York's Democratic
People are
governor
waking
was
up.
quick to mock the thousands of voters who turned out, comparing the whole thing to a circus act.
Well, I'll tell you, it won't make a difference at all, Jake, and that is for Donald Trump to be the ringleader of and invite all his clowns to a place like the Bronx. New York will never, ever support Donald Trump for president. We know him better than anyone, and that means we understand what he's all about is just for himself. So this state will go solidly behind Joe Biden for president, as it has in the past.
Donald Trump and his gang of clowns. That is what these people think of us. That is what these leaders think of us. They don't think we are smart enough to come to our own conclusions and say, no, you're not working for our best interest. Because the majority of people who vote for Trump, we're not going to attack other people because they vote differently than us. No, absolutely not. But it just seems a lot of these Democratic leaders are just so willing to attack any Trump supporters. And it is so sickening to see. You saw it in the 2016 election with Hillary Clinton and their basket of deplorables. These people just think we're stupid.
This comes a few weeks after she had this to say about Bronx kids. Watch.
Right now we have, young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things.
She said she regretted that. She said she misspoke. And then weeks later, she calls Bronx rally-goers clowns.
That's exactly what first popped in my mind when I heard her statements about the rally. Kayleigh, you know I'm a New Yorker. I'm a New York resident. And certainly the governor doesn't speak for me when she talks about and scoffs at President Trump holding a rally here, because the difference between the Democrat Party and Trump, refreshingly, is that he doesn't take certain groups for granted. He doesn't take any voter for granted. He is actively courting here, especially the Black and Hispanic groups that the Democrat Party has taken granted for so long. And as the New York Post editorial board writes, they're hungry for a change. And I posit that it actually goes much further in that all Americans are hungry for a change because we are all miserable under this administration. Now, you contrast that with A, Biden ignoring those groups, B, putting them in a box, or C, with his Morehouse speech, for example, where he continues to tout a victimhood mentality. Their strategy and their position is so far in the past. It's so antiquated. And yet right now, when they're looking them in the face and say, you aren't black if you don't vote for me, not at all. They are American. Everyone is an American. Everyone votes individually. And President Trump is appealing to that by saying, I see you. Let's make it all better. And let's work on policies, not your skin color.
Amen.
Yeah, you're exactly
She's
right.
sharp.
You know, I was watching a pollster this week, and this pollster was saying, when you attack a candidate for his policies, make sure not to attack his or her voters. But Democrats have a very bad history of attacking voters. Let's take a walk down memory lane.
Basket of deplorables.
Rural people out there voting their craziness about the cult.
Credulous boomer Rube demo that backs Donald Trump, that wants to think that Donald Trump's a smart one, and they're y'all elitists are dumb.
The MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundation.
Can I play a feed, or actually, can we just read my my X page? Look, I can't stand name calling. I think it's immature. It's unprofessional. I think that we as people, and especially as Americans, should be better than that. But
Not
it happens on
supporters.
both sides.
He's never done
Donald
supporters.
Trump has said terrible things about liberals. You know,
No,
and when
about
you talk
Biden.
about deplorables.
He doesn't attack Biden voters.
Oh, I would disagree. And if not Donald Trump, many in the Republican Party.
But I mean, examples. I always hear Donald Trump attacks voters, but I never see examples. I would love. Send us the clips, Leslie.
Okay. Should I say what? No, I don't. Yeah.
Say them or send us
you the clips. But let's look at what really matters, which is numbers, because that's what politics is, and that is what it comes down to, are numbers. In the state of New York, you have almost a double-digit lead by Joe Biden. That's going to be hard to close the gap. I don't think New York is going to go red from blue for Donald Trump. When we look at the Bronx rally, I'm not surprised. First of all, not everybody there, which it is an overwhelming African-American Latino district, is from the Bronx. There are people outside who are big fans of Donald Trump. You know, they're in New York and they live in New York. They come out to see him. Their former president. They want to be president again. But numbers-wise, when you look at the Republican Party, they have become more multiracial. They have become more of the working class party. And now Democrats have become more of the super educated suburban voter party. We've been seeing those trends change. So I'm not really surprised to see that. And one last thing. In 2016, people laughed at me when I said, I'm nervous about those crowds. If those crowds come out to vote, Hillary's not going to win. Ding, ding, ding.
I don't agree with what you said on if those crowds show up that Trump's going to win, because those same crowds showed up in the last election. The only problem was there was a few dead voters that came out, and I don't think they were too favorable towards Trump.
Pull it up. Latest Bloomberg swing state poll. Here you go. Donald Trump is winning all these swing states. And in fact, when you average it together, he's winning 48 to 44% in swing states overall. When it comes to the crowd that you're not worried about, Leslie, you know, Dr. Siegel, CNN, I'm sure it was very difficult. They had to admit that it was a large crowd. Furthermore, they had to admit that the crowd was largely from the Bronx. Watch this.
What was the crowd like, and what kind of response did he get?
Well, certainly a bigger crowd than I think Democrats would like to see, particularly given this is one of the bluest counties in the entire country. Now, one of the things that was interesting to me is that the Trump campaign said that they were going to micro-target to get people from the community to come to this rally. I wasn't sure what to expect. I've gone to a lot of these rallies across the country, and there are often people who travel hundreds of miles to see Donald Trump, and they're not necessarily part of the community. However, one of the things that I found was that there were a lot of people here that were actually from the Bronx.
Now, admittedly, I'm more interested in listening
Yeah,
to the
I was
YMCA
vibing.
than the
I think
CNN
you're rid of
reporter,
that.
but at the end, she said a bunch of them are from the Bronx, and there are many here.
And of course, Donald Trump is from Queens. And when I was in the White House with him in 2020, we talked about both of us being street fighters. This is him being a street fighter. This is him going as the underdog. I think this plays to the American spirit, not to the issue of politics here, to the American spirit where America has always been a country where we come from behind, where we go against the odds. D-Day is coming up June 6th, 80 years from the time when we landed on the beaches in Normandy. Overwhelming odds against the United States. We took back France. Here, Trump is saying, I don't care whether I'm ahead or behind in New York. I'm for America here. And that's what he's trying to do.
It's what Reagan did in 1980, and he prevailed over Carter. Molly, AOC tweeted this. So this was the initial tweet. Crotona Park is going to be a muddy mess tonight for the Trump rally. She quote tweeted it with God is good. So celebrating the bad weather for Trump. Well, there was an incredible man who my mom cannot stop talking to me about because she loved him so much. I did too. Reverend Ruben Diaz Sr. will be on with me this evening on the Ingram Angle. He had this to say about AOC at the rally. Watch.
I want to tell AOC.
I love the hat.
This morning, she intended to become a prophet. And she said, even God doesn't want Trump in the Bronx because it's going to rain. Madame Prophet AOC, you have become a false prophet.
I mean, the weather was beautiful.
Big turnout, nice weather. I have to say, AOC and Kathy Hochul, they both seem a little bit nervous. If you're name calling, not only does it look a little petty, it also makes you look like you might be a little scared. They may have good reason to be scared. I covered a historically amazing political race in Massachusetts when Scott Brown in 2010 drove this little pickup truck across the blue state of Massachusetts, a little-known Republican senator, played to those voters, played to those independents, tried to earn every vote, and then he did, and he went on to be a senator. So this is not necessarily a silly play by Donald Trump. He makes smart moves and has campaigned very effectively in the past. So he may be the one that knows something that others don't. We're seeing the numbers. In the last election there in the Bronx, 27% of registered voters turning out. There is an enthusiasm problem there. Even though New York City tends to go historically Democrat, it's considered a Democratic stronghold, some issues there.
It's a great point. You know, Biden carried 84.4% of the Bronx, but only 27% showed up.
That's just the thing. I don't believe a single poll that comes out from the news. Going into 2016, they said Hillary was up 10 points in every state pretty much. And then Trump came in like a wrecking ball and shattered everyone's expectations. Trump, he's a man of the people. He will campaign anywhere. He will go anywhere just to get one extra vote. He does not take any voter for granted. But the old saying goes, I think it was Stalin or Lenin that said this, it doesn't matter how many votes you get, it matters who counts the votes, and that's what truly matters come November. Yeah, let me know, what do you guys think? Is there any chance Trump takes New York? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to know your thoughts. And if you enjoyed, make sure to smash a like, comment, subscribe, and I wish you guys nothing but the best. Till next time.